Hi there, welcome back. Happy September. Yay, I love September. Where I live in Ontario, Canada, September and October are my favorite months. The weather is still warm during the day, but then it gets really cool, almost cold at night, so you can open the windows and you sleep fantastic. And the trees start turning all different colors of reds and golds and oranges and yellows and it's Mother Nature showing off in all her glory. It's my favorite. I just love it. Even our maple tree that I look at out my window here, his name's Doug. I think I've mentioned him before, Dougie Gilmore. We named him that because he's a maple leaf. And those of you who know will know who Doug Gilmore is. And besides, we had a hole was dug to put Doug into the ground. We planted him the year we moved in here, and he's huge now. Anyhow, because I'm upstairs, I can see the top, and from underneath, if we didn't have a 2-story house, I'd never know this, but from up here, I can see the tops of his top branches are turning red already. I might take a picture of it and post it later so that you can see what I'm talking about. That Dougie's upper leaves, he's starting to show off up there. Anyhow, I love September and October, and I try to enjoy it as best I can because I know that, unfortunately, as glorious as autumn is where I live, it means winter is coming. So, you know what? There's the sweet with the sour or the bitter. Although I think I told many of you, I don't mind winter so much, but I don't have to go out into it. So I used to really, really detest it when I had to bundle up and go out into the snow and shovel it and go to work, and you leave in the dark and come home in the dark, and I don't have to do that anymore. So I kiss my sweetie pie goodbye as he goes off in the dark into the snow and comes home in the dark through the snow. And Kirby and I stay home all snuggled in. I've got a thrift haul. It's not very big, but I thought let's celebrate September 1st with a thrift haul because we always need more stuff. And there's my Thrift Proud pin. Yes, because I went thrifting on National Thrifting Day. I didn't even know it was. That was a happy serendipitous coincidence. And of course, you'll never guess what I got because, I always need more books, right? I really shouldn't be showing pictures of my book wall. And every time I buy more books, I tell myself it's because winter's coming and I'm going to be hunkered down into the snow because of the snow, and I can just go shopping for books right here on my own shelves. Yeah, but then I still managed to get out. The only time, well, not the only time, but the main time that my bookshelves really came in handy was those 2 winters of COVID when we were locked in and stores were closed. And I was able to just keep happily making journals because of my book wall. Anyhow, so I'll share with you the books that I got, even though I told myself, Catherine, you don't need any more books. But my daughter explained to me that it's quite possible I also am an undiagnosed ADHD. And I said, but I don't think I'm hyperactive. I really like a good long sit. And she said, no, sometimes people mistake the hyperactive part as that you're rebounding off the walls. And she said, sometimes the hyperactive is that you're looking for that hit, that adrenaline hit. And she said, and for you, it could be the thrifting and especially the books. And she said that could be what feeds your kind of hyperactive. Anyhow, she's not a therapist, so we'll never know, because I got more things on my plate than ADHD right now for me. Anyhow, let's get on to it. As ever, I'm off topic, hence the ADHD. Forget it. Oh, look, a squirrel. So I found this one, and I mostly got it because look how yummy that this cover is. It is, let's see if I can come back a bit. It's a little newer than I usually get. It's still vintage, but I couldn't resist how glorious this cover is. The back is just plain, but I can do a little bit of Anna from Made by Granat here, and maybe put some stickers back there. But I just thought that was just a book of famous fairy tales. How yummy is that? And I even love the colors. So it is, I wish I knew what had been taped down here, because even that is just magnificent. The leftover celluloid yellowed tape that must have it just falls off eventually, thank goodness, because I save it. But in this case, whoever subsequently owned it peeled it off. But I thought I might take that picture and put it here and then reapply some of my faux tape back onto there. I've already got, you can see my imagination is already going wild with this book, because the colored illustrations in it are delightful. There's not very many, but the ones that are there are so pretty. And then there's even some little black and white etchings that are sweet. 1953. So again, it's older than me, so I say it's old because it's older than me. If it was younger than me, then it's not old yet. But it's fairy tales. Ooh, glasses. Yes. It's fairy tales, and like I said, there's some just delightful, look how pretty that is. Isn't that pretty? There's a few in here. Let's find them. Look at that, Thumbelina. Isn't that beautiful? So pretty. And then there was this picture of frogs, and the mama frog is nursing the little Thumbelina. Oh, it's a toad. It's not a frog. I wonder why they've got the toad in the water. Toads usually just like damp areas. They're not... People mistakenly think toads live in water the way frogs do. They like water. They like damp, shady places. But not usually water. I don't want to say never. I'm not a toad expert, but from what I know, they're not as much water lovers as frogs are. I think that's it. Anyhow, I love that anyways, and I have a book coming up that's calling for some fun pictures of some frogs and fairies, and these might have to go into it. We'll see. Anyhow, so there's that one. So you can see, you got to give me props for, come on, I couldn't leave that back on the shelf. And it was Senior's Day. It was Senior's Day. I found this book by Ellen Montgomery, Lucy Maud Montgomery. And those of you who are unaware, almost everyone knows Anne of Green Gables, but Lucy Maud Montgomery wrote a lot of really wonderful books. In fact, my favorite book of hers is not Anne of Green Gables. My favorite book of hers is The Story Girl. And it's very different from the TV series that was later made, because they sort of blended a whole bunch of her books together to create that TV series. But if you haven't read The Story Girl, read The Story Girl. I love The Story Girl. In fact, that was always my favorite summer book. The school I went to would allow you to pick out, I forget how many books from the library to take home for the summer. And I always grabbed the storybooks, The Story Girl, off the shelf, hopefully before anyone else could. And usually it was put aside for me because my mom volunteered in our school library. And she would put aside all the new books for me. I usually got to read those first. And then by the summertime, I'd grab The Story Girl, and that would usually be, I'd read it a few times every summer, The Story Girl. But I've never read this one by Maud. So Kilmeny of the Orchard, and I already got into it this morning, and I'm going to enjoy this before I take it apart, which I will. This is not a first edition. The first edition was in 1925, and this is 1940, so fear not, it's not. Although her works are priceless in a way, this is not precious or priceless. It's just, so marvelous. Let me read to you this first paragraph, because this already pulled me into this book. The sunshine of a day in early spring, honey pale and honey sweet, was showering over the red brick buildings of Queensley College and the grounds about them, throwing through the bare budding maples and elms delicate, evasive etchings of gold and brown on the paths, and coaxing into life the daffodils that were peering greenly and perkily up under the windows of the co-ed's dressing room. Who writes like that? That's magical. Lucy Maud Montgomery writes like that. So, of course, then I kept reading, and before I knew it, my morning was half gone. So I'm going to enjoy this book, and then so many things are just calling to me about a beautiful green book. Look how pretty that spine is. Isn't that beautiful? And it's a nice size. This is just, this is going to be lovely to create into a journal. Although, if I end up loving it as much as The Story Girl, it may go on to, I have a tiny little shelf of my books that don't get cut up. So, Kilmeny of the Orchard could possibly end up on that shelf too. We'll see. Certainly, I have a few Anne of Green Gables, and I have no problem cutting those ones up. None of them are first edition, don't worry. And I have one that's special, and I'm only the guardian of it. It's not mine to keep. I do have my mother-in-law's copy of Anne of Green Gables. It's not a first edition. I think it's a third edition. But it's still precious because it was hers, and I believe it was my father-in-law's cousin's before it was hers. So I'm just sort of taking care of it on behalf of my husband's family. And then I got these. At first I was going to just leave them on the shelf because part of me thought, lives of eminent men, nothing wrong with men. I have many men in my life that I love. But I just sort of, the feminist in me sort of said, ugh. But then I got to thinking, that would make a nice little frame to put a tiny little, master painting in there. Wouldn't that look cute in there? Let me come back down again. Hold on. There. So I thought that would look quite cute. And then I realized that the fronts were very pretty too. Oh, see, now I have to come back out again. Sorry, I hope you're not getting nauseated by all this. It's got really beautiful embossing on the front and on the back. But then the deal, what sealed the deal was, I think I'm going to sneeze. Hold on. I might have to hit pause. I hate sneezing on camera. No, it's gone. All right. What sealed the deal was 1847. So it looks like there were 3 volumes in this set, but at my thrift store, there were only 2 volumes on the shelf. 1 and 2 were there. So, and then also what sealed the deal was they put a different title on the spine. Obviously, they wanted it to fit on the spine, and obviously it ended up that the characters were all men, but the original title says Eminent Individuals. Well, you know what? I like that title much better. But yeah, it is all men. Wouldn't you love to know all the daring women who really actually made history as well, that we'll never know? We only know in our hearts that they were there. Maybe someday we'll find out all the incredible women that made history, that should have made history. Anyhow, so as you can see, how could I leave these there after doing a little bit more searching through them? They had to come home. So they came home. And I love a beautiful black book. And I'm not sure I would do anything to these covers. That is just so pretty. It feels like to put a book plate on it might be cruel. So that was from my thrift store where it was Senior's Day. And then at the same store I got, I hope it shows up on camera. It's big. It is a clear 3-drawer shelf that is big enough to hold 12 by 12 scrap paper. I don't have a whole lot of 12 by 12 scrap paper, so I may use it for other things. But I was happy to get this. I love clear containers in my studio because I always forget where I've put things, and at least when the containers are clear, I have a better idea of what's in them. There's method to my madness. Or brilliance. I don't know. You choose. The next store I went to was my little St. Vincent de Paul store. It reopened. I was so happy. It closed and I was sad. And it didn't say temporarily closing or anything like that. It just said closing, and it was selling everything off. And I thought, oh, well, yet another business that didn't survive COVID, because a lot of businesses, once COVID was over, their rents, the landlords took a real hit. Because where we live, many landlords were ordered to cut their tenants a break for commercial rentals, not residential rentals. Residential residents who rent are protected by law. There's only a certain amount they can raise their rents every year. But commercial real estate is different where I live, and they can raise their rent as much as they want when a lease becomes due. And a lot of little companies, even though they might have been able to survive COVID, did not survive their rent going up afterwards. And I thought, I didn't ask anyone, but I thought, oh, maybe that's what happened to my little St. Vincent de Paul store. On the other hand, I thought, that store is being funded by the Catholic Church. And, like, as far as I know, that's the wealthiest church in the world, isn't it? I could be wrong, but I do think the Catholic Church is the wealthiest church in the world. Anyhow, so who knows? I'll never know. But I drove past it, and there was clothing hanging out front, and there was things out front, and there were signs saying open. And you practically heard my wheels screeching as I turned to find a parking spot really fast and go in. And it was just the good old store, still set up and all the way I was used to it. And I said, "You're open." And she said, "Yep, we're open." And I said, "For good? You're not just teasing me?" And she said, "We're open for good." Hallelujah. Anyhow, for all my singing, I was trying to do it quietly so I didn't embarrass myself too much or inflict myself on others. For all that, I found one thing. I found this beautiful little pin for, it says $1.75, but I forget what it was. I got a deal on it. Oh, I think it was that they've now made Everyday Seniors Day at St. Vincent de Paul, which was nice. So I didn't pay $1.75 for it. But here, let me turn it over to this side so she's easier to see. There. How is that? Now, I'm sure there's a name for her, and hopefully someone could tell me, because I know that although we can tell that that's Mary and Jesus, there are certain versions of Mary and Jesus that have special names. So maybe someone can let me know, because I don't know. Like I said, my grandfather was the last Catholic in our family. And he's not here to tell me, and I don't think he could tell me even if he were here. He was not not a good Catholic. He was a good person, but not a good at attending. or getting his children to attend. So I got that. And then I went over to it just kept getting better and better. I went over to my little ladies' hospital auxiliary shop. And their whole store, because they want to make room to bring in their winter clothing and things, was everything in the store was 50% off. And again, I didn't have much luck with anything else in the store. They don't have much of a book section. Let's come down a bit for these. But they do really well on old lady brooches. And they also do really well. I like men's shirts. In the summer, I like short sleeve men's shirts because I like to wear a tank top with just a colorful men's shirt over top. And in the winter, I like to wear a long sleeve t-shirt and put a man's flannel shirt on over top. And their men's shirts are always $3. And I thought, oh, yes. And I went to the men's shirt rack. I didn't find anything. But then I found, I said, are even the brooches 50% off? She said, everything in the store. Yes. So I found this cameo. I don't think, it's just a plastic one, but it still looks, oh, there we go. Sorry. Really pretty. I apologize again for my too much glue on my fingers, and they eventually rebel and give me what for. So that was $2 instead of $4. I love this one. I even love that the glue has gone yellow on that rhinestone. So it was whatever half of 75 cents is. I told her to round up because it was such a deal. I loved this one. Believe it or not, it's Christmas. If you can see down here, it says poinsettia. So, and there's a little poinsettia, and it's a little Christmas ornament on a bow, and it dangles. Isn't that cute? I always like to check and see if they're sterling silver. Let's take it off and take a look, shall we? So I was very happy. This will go on to a Christmas journal. I don't think so. I'm tempted to give it a bit of a cleaning to see if it polishes up, but on the other hand, I don't like it to look brand new. If it happens to be silver, then it would start looking better, and I don't want it to look better. I like it to look grungy. So that was 50 cents. I loved this one. Isn't that pretty? Very, very pretty. So it was, regularly they were asking $3, and I always wait for sales because I would normally not pay $3.50, $4 for brooches. But I loved that. That's going to be really pretty on like a bow around holding a really pretty book closed. Isn't that pretty? Same with this one. Look at that. That's just screaming to go on a shabby chic book that's got lots of lace, bridal lace, sewn right through the book cover. That's just screaming to go on one of those. And then this one, I think I've got this one already, which tells me I need to use it because I'm pretty sure. Let's get it out and see. Oh, here's my bin. Oh, let's go back. Here's my bin of charm stuff in a clear bin. And of course you can see it's all neat and orderly. I buy necklaces and take them apart. forgot about her. Frida. Frida needs to go on to my journal. Oh, I think I might have put one already on my journal. Oh, I better check and see. Frida's bonus song. Yes! Haha! Look at that. Twins. Well, maybe if I make 2 books the same, I can put those on. So that means somewhere in town. Oh, this is one of those brooches that could also be a necklace. Oh, you could wear it as a pendant. Got the loop in it. Kind of like the royal jewelry when they wear a choker, and then it can also be worn as a tiara, and they take pieces, a centerpiece out of a tiara, and turns out it's also a brooch that can also be worn as a pendant. Yeah, here's my bin of stuff. Sometimes I'm tempted to tidy it up, and other times, like right now, half the fun is going through it. Oh, half the fun is going through it just to see what strikes my fancy when I'm making a journal. Oh, I'm putting that with my religious things. I keep those ones separate over with my little religious cards. I have lots of those little lockets. So that can go in. I saved this because those tiny little pictures, this is out of a book called, I'm looking for it so I can quote it properly. I believe it's called Victoria's Sketchbook. Queen Victoria was quite a good artist. And this was in that book called Victoria's Sketchbook. And these were all Victoria and Albert's children and their wives, and then their children, so her grandchildren. Because they had quite a large family, even though Victoria was quite well known that she did not enjoy children. But she certainly had an easy time delivering them, and kept having them. So there's most of European royalty goes back to this lady here. These two here, who were so in love. Anyhow, this has come in handy so many times because those tiny little pictures fit in these little lockets. So there we go. Boy, I went off on a ton of tangents today, huh? Well, it's Friday, and it's September 1st, so why not celebrate the beginning of the month? It's a holiday weekend for Canada and for the US. I'm not sure if it's a holiday weekend anywhere else in the world. So if you get the Monday off, I hope you enjoy your long weekend. I hope you're doing well. If you're down in those southern states where Adalia wreaked all kinds of havoc going through this week, I hope you and yours are safe and healthy and came through okay. I know that it was a horrible, horrible first hurricane of the season to do that kind of damage, and it's just starting hurricane season for that part of the world. So I'm off. I am going to, look at the time. Little Miss Kirby and I, we're going to go get some lunch. We're going to go for a WALK. Be glad when she still doesn't know how to spell, so that's a good thing. And then I'm going to come back up here and get back to work on a strange story and catch you up. Maybe I'll do another video and get you caught up on the things I've been doing in here, because I have been busy off camera. Take care. As ever, we'll talk soon. Bye.